So, First Peoples of Kentucky, video 10. So here are the questions. What is Harmar's shame and St. Clair's humiliation? What are those things? What is Harmar's shame and St. Clair's humiliation? Question 47. Name any 4 of the 10 Native American tribes that the Kentuckians had warred against at the Battle of Frenchtown at present-day Monroe, Michigan. So there's 8 counties that were named, right? 9 counties, my bad. 9 counties that were named after the dead, the slain of the Battle of Frenchtown. 8 of them were slain. Only Bland Ballard had lived. Name 4 of the 10 Native American tribes. So there are 10 Native American tribes that had fought against the Kentuckians at the Battle of Frenchtown. Name 4 of those. Question 48. What tribe was Roundhead and Walk-in-the-Water chiefs of? So Chief Roundhead and Chief Walk-in-the-Water were chiefs of what tribe? Question 49. What native white Kentuckian, who would eventually become the 9th Vice President of the United States of America, claimed to have personally murdered Tecumseh? What battle is also known as Hardin's Defeat, who is named after John J. Hardin, who was born in 1753, also the namesake of Hardin County? Question 51. What military blunder caused John J. Hardin to lose at Hardin's Defeat? Question 52. Name the 5 different Indian tribes John J. Hardin, the namesake of Hardin County, helped genocide. So John J. Hardin was an Indian killer, and he killed 5 different types of Indian tribes. What are those tribes' names? How did John J. Hardin, born 1753, the namesake of Hardin County, Kentucky, die? So how did John J. Hardin eventually die? Question 54. Chief Chekommia, aka Big River, was the last of the what Indians? So the last person of this type of tribe was Chief Chekommia, aka Big River. And what is Chief Chekommia historically known for? Why is he the last of these type of Indians? It's question 55. Question 56. Ho-Chunk people's exonym. It is a name given to them by others. It's a derogatory name. Is what? So we have the Ho-Chunk people, but the Ho-Chunk people have historically been named what? They've been named a derogatory term, an exonym. Okay, there's autonyms and then there's exonyms. So Ho-Chunk people's exonym, a name given to them by others. The derogatory name is what? Question 57. What does Winnebago mean? Question 58. What does Ho-Chunk translate to? Question 59. What's a name a people call themselves? So exonym is what people call themselves. What's a name that the tribe or a group of people call themselves? Okay. So it's about like 12 questions, right? So let's start answering them. Question 46. What is Harmar's shame and St. Clair's humiliation? These are 2 military losses in Ohio ordered by President George Washington during his military takeover of the Northwest Territories. So President George Washington becomes president, and they basically control the eastern seaboard, but they want to take the Ohio lands away from the Miami and the Shawnee tribes, and he sent Harmar and he sent St. Clair. These are men's names, and their losses, their military losses, is they name it Harmar's shame and St. Clair's humiliation. Right? It's kind of like Custer's last stand, St. Clair's last stand, Harmar's last stand. So yeah, the battle is named after the military leaders who had lost those campaigns. Question 47. Name any of the 4 of the 10 Native American tribes the Kentuckians warred against at the Battle of Frenchtown at present-day Monroe, Michigan. So the Native Americans who had fought against the Kentuckians, all 10 of them are the Shawnee, the Potawatomi, the Ottawa, the Chippewa, the Delaware, the Miami, the Winnebago, which is also the Ho-Chunk. We should call them the Ho-Chunk people because the Winnebago is the derogatory name for the Ho-Chunks, which is a question coming up. The Creek Indians, the Sauk, S-A-U-K, and the Fox tribes. Okay, so the Shawnee, Potawatomi, Ottawa, Chippewa, Delaware, Miami, Ho-Chunk, Creek, Sauk, and Fox tribes all fought against the Kentuckians at the Battle of Frenchtown. Question 48, what tribe was Roundhead and Walk-in-the-Water chiefs of? They were chiefs of the Wyandots. Okay, so Chief Roundhead and Chief Walk-in-the-Water were chiefs of the Wyandot Indian tribes. What native white Kentuckian, who eventually became the 9th Vice President of the United States of America, right? He was born in Kentucky. He was a white guy who was born in one of these frontier settlements. He claimed that he personally murdered Tecumseh. His name is Richard Mentor Johnson. Richard Mentor, M-E-N-T-O-R Johnson. Richard Mentor Johnson. And that's his claim to fame, right? He said, oh, I personally killed Tecumseh. And that was like really good back then because white people looked at the Native Americans as enemies. What battle is also known as Hardin's Defeat, which was named after John J. Hardin, born in 1753. There's 2 John J. Hardins. That's why I put the birthday in there. Another one, actually, the other John J. Hardin, I don't know if they're related or not, but it's the exact same name, John J. Hardin, right? So even the same middle initial. So actually, if I knew his middle name, I could probably be able to just say John, Jefferson Hardin or whatever, but I don't. Regardless, it's the namesake of Hardin County, John J. Hardin. He is known for a battle which is called Hardin's Defeat, which was actually during Harmar's campaign, Harmar's shame, and St. Clair's humiliation. It's all part of that sort of takeover of the Ohio country, taken away from the Shawnee and the Miami. The battle is known as Battle of Heller's Corner, and it was fought in 1790. So the Battle of Heller's Corner is also known as Hardin's Defeat. Question 51, what military blunder caused John J. Hardin to lose at Hardin's Defeat? So why did John J. Hardin lose, at Hardin's Defeat? He had followed a decoy Indian into swampy lowlands by the Eel River where he was easily ambushed. So they're marching up to fight the Native Americans in Ohio. He sees one Native American who's on horseback and he takes off running, and John J. Hardin follows him to some swampy lowlands and then ambushed. So basically he was tricked. He was also ordered by Harmar to do that too. Harmar's shame is the overall campaign that had lost, but John J. Hardin, the Hardin's Defeat was part of that Harmar's campaign. Question 52. Name the 5 different Indian tribes John J. Hardin, born in 1753, helped genocide. So the namesake of Hardin County killed lots of Native Americans. The 5 different tribes that I've been able to identify from Wikipedia. A lot of this comes from Wikipedia, but I always find cross-references. But the 5 different tribes were the Wee Indians, W-E-A Indians, the Shawnee, the Miami, the Piankeshaw, and the Kickapoo. The Kickapoo, Piankeshaw, Miami, Shawnee, and the Wee. Those are the 5 different Indian tribes that John J. Hardin helped genocide. So really, that's a good beginning lesson for Hardin Countyans to study the Native Americans, because they're named after an Indian murderer. But we shouldn't be honoring these, these genocidal maniacs. We should really honor all people, right? So especially the local folks. But John J. Hardin, he murdered Shawnee, Miami, Piankeshaw, Kickapoo, and Wee Indians. How did John J. Hardin, born 1753, namesake of Hardin County, Kentucky, die? So how did eventually John J. Hardin, who killed all these Native American tribes, the Wee, Shawnee, Miami, Piankeshaw, the Kickapoo, is also known for Hardin's Defeat because of his military blunder. How did he die? So eventually how he died, the Shawnee had killed him and his servant, which was named Freeman. And I don't see his race, probably a black man. His last name is Freeman, right? That's all we know about him, and that's typically was for black folks, but it could be white folks. There was indentured servants back then too. But the Shawnee killed him, and they killed his servant, Freeman, in Shelby County, Ohio, while they were sleeping. And the reason why he was in Shelby County, Ohio, was because President, well, I don't know if he was president at the time, but George Washington had sent John J. Hardin as a peace officer to the Shawnee to supposedly negotiate a peace. But you know how that actually turns out. Go negotiate a peace. Oh, they didn't want peace. Well, let's declare war, right? So that's always like a trick. They call him a peace officer, but really, it's George Washington, Kanataw He wipes out all the Iroquois, known as the Town Destroyer, right? Just a scorched earth terrorist campaign. Just murder them all, kill them all. Who cares? Burn the houses down, men, women, children. Just run them all out of New York and destroy the Iroquois. So that's George Washington. So the Shawnee killed him and a servant Freeman in Shelby County, Ohio, while they slept. He got killed that way because George Washington had sent him to Ohio to be a peace officer. Question 54. Chief Chekommia, a.k.a. Big River, was the last of the Piankeshaw Indians. So it's also, Piankeshaw is considered in the umbrella of the We Indians, which might actually change this a little bit up because We is both the Kickapoo and the Piankeshaw. So maybe it wasn't 5 different Indian tribes. Maybe it was like 4, since We is an umbrella for the Piankeshaw and the Kickapoo. But that's a better question. What's We known as? Or what does the We tribes include? And the We tribes include both the Kickapoo and the Piankeshaw. Chief Chekommia, a.k.a. Big River, was the last chief of the Piankeshaw Indians. And why was he the last chief? Question 55. Because he's historically known for signing the treaty which ceded his people's land to the American government. In 1805, he signed the Treaty of Grouseland at William Henry Harrison's home in Vincennes, Vincennes, Indiana. And then in 1818, Chief Chekommia signed off the last of the Indiana lands and rights he and the Piankeshaw had. So in 1818, that's the lasting legacy of Chief Chekommia of the Piankeshaw, was signing the treaty to give away or to sell the lands of his tribe. Question 56. The Ho-Chunk people's exonym is the Winnebago. Okay, so Winnebago is a derogatory term, and exonym is a name that the other people give to that group of people. It's not what the people themselves. It's not what they actually call themselves. So if you say Winnebago, you're being derogatory and you're anglicizing it. You know, you're kind of pointing out what the enemies had called the Ho-Chunk people. But if you want to know what the Ho-Chunk people called themselves, they called themselves the Ho-Chunks. And that's what you should call them, because that's what they called themselves. What does Winnebago mean? So why is Winnebago a derogatory name? The idea was that they were born next to a stinking river, a stinky creek, and so Winnebago means the people of the stinking waters, or people of the stagnant waters, or just the stinking people. So the stinky people, that's Winnebago. You're a Winnebago. Well, no, I'm not a stinky person, so get on out of here. I'm a Ho-Chunk. What does Ho-Chunk translate to? So this would be the autonym, which is question 59. It translates to people of original tongue. The fish eaters, the trout people, the big fish people, the big speech people, the people of the big voice, the people of the parent speech, the people of the original language. Current elders say that it means the people of the big voice or the people of the sacred language. So there's a whole bunch of different meanings that it could be. I like the people of the sacred language. That seems to be the people of the original tongue. But there's also the trout people, the big fish people, the big speech people, the people of the big voice. I am a Ho-Chunk. People, the parent speech. So really it's just all about the language. And I don't know if the Ho-Chunk actually is still carrying on with their language today. Question 59. What's a name if people call themselves? It's an autonym. So the Ho-Chunk is the autonym for the Ho-Chunks, and the exonym for the Ho-Chunk people would be the Winnebago. And we're going to find out actually about the Sioux, which is a derogatory name for the Lakota or the Dakota people. So the Dakota people, they want to be known as the Dakota people. That's their autonym, but their exonym is the Sioux. So if you're talking about the Sioux, you're using a derogatory name. If you talk about Winnebago, you're talking about a derogatory name. If you use Ho-Chunk or Lakota or Dakota, then you're using the names that they had called themselves, which is the name that we should carry on, okay? The names of, like the Winnebago, like who wants to be called, the stinky people? Nobody wants to be called the stinky people. And it's clear why they would put that on them in order. It's propaganda, right? Sort of like the Germans. The Romans had called the Germans barbarians. They're a bunch of barbarians. But eventually they had accepted that name to be who they actually are. So, First Peoples of Kentucky, number 10, completed.